Okay, everyone, we're going to get started. We've got a busy day, so I hope you've all managed to get some breakfast and some coffee. So my name's Mike Ibba. I'm the Dean of the Schmid College. So it's my pleasure to welcome you to our Senior Research Conference. And even before I started the college, this has always been one of the highlights for us. We're going to hear about some incredible scientific breakthroughs made by our very own Schmidsters. And as they prepare to graduate, I think we shouldn't be calling them students anymore. These are young researchers and scientists of the future. So as you hear from each presenter today, I think you're going to be amazed at the level of intellectual curiosity and innovation that's gone into their research projects. These scientists have gone above and beyond what I think you'd expect of people who've only been in college for a few years. They face challenges head on, they've come out the other side, and they've made really groundbreaking discoveries that I think are going to excite you. So I want to take a moment to thank everyone who's made this event possible. The list is very long, but the students, faculty, staff, and community members have contributed in countless ways to bring us to this point. We don't only appreciate what everyone's done, but it's part of what makes us great at this, I think. So because you're here today, this means you're part of a community that's passionate about scientific knowledge, the promotion of intellectual curiosity. And I hope that after today, you'll leave this conference with a greater appreciation of the science and a deeper sense of wonder and excitement about the possibilities that lie ahead. Before we really get started, I want to give a shout out to a couple of Schmidsters who I think what we expect is that this is going to be the start of Schmid College pretty much doing a clean sweep of all the awards at Chapman this year. So we heard yesterday that Bakana McDowell is the Gloria and Julia Peterson Outstanding Leadership Award winner at Chapman, and that Ben Jander won the Cecil F. Cheverton Award. So give them a round of applause. So without further ado, let's get the show running. And we're going to start with Richelle Tanner, who is the director of our Environmental Science and Policy Program. Okay, if you're not aware, this is an environmental science and policy thing that every time you see it say this, they clap, they shout louder than everyone else. And I'm sure you'll want to know that Bakana is in environmental science and policy, because you're going to be told that soon. And another round of applause. All right. Okay, Richelle.
Thanks, Mike. I want to thank Elaine for inviting me to give a couple remarks at the beginning of this research conference. And I was trying to figure out what to talk about. And, you know, Elaine inviting me to do this made me feel really old, but I guess being your professor just should make me feel old anyway. And so I wanted to start with a picture of me in your shoes 8 years ago. This is my undergrad advisor. This is our research conference at USC. I like to think that I don't really look much older than that anymore, but I've learned a lot since then. And so I wanted to share a couple things with you that hopefully you've learned from your advisor or will continue to learn as you continue to grow as a researcher. So the first big lesson that I learned was about choosing my academic family. And they say that you can't choose your family. How do I get my presenter notes on this? Well, okay. I'm gonna remember all the stories that I was gonna tell you. So they say you can't choose your you can't choose your family, but you kind of can choose your academic family in a sense. But it's already been chosen for you based on who you've chosen as your advisor during your undergraduate. And so these are some of the people that I've worked with over the years. And I've been able to move through my career because these people are all connected in some way, despite not really looking like they are connected. And so my undergraduate advisor was roommates with my postdoc advisor when they lived in Antarctica. My PhD advisor and another person from my undergraduate were drinking buddies at conferences. And so, you know, while you can choose the people that you surround yourself with in your research community, it's not always that easy. And I went and looked up my academic tree. I don't know if anyone has done this before. You can look up your advisor on your academic tree, and there's the URL on the bottom. But what I already knew and what this illustrates is that my tree is completely recursive, meaning that every single person that I've worked with has shares an advisor, shares an academic parent, shares an academic grandparent. And what this kind of shows is that, while you can't, you can't really escape us, I guess is what I'm saying. And at the same time, it shows that people who are in these academic families continue to support each other and continue to support each other's students. And so this is should be reassuring to you that we're always going to be here for you and help you find a mentor later in life, as these people continue to do for me. A big lesson that I learned in undergraduate, and hopefully that I'm passing on to my students here, is that research for me was fostering a sense of belonging in science and in college. So on the top are pictures of me in college, mainly doing field research all around the world. And this was really the first place that I felt like I belonged in college. I was a music major, which is very cutthroat, and there's no women in music, especially jazz performance. And so research was kind of my home and where I found people that were similar to me and were able to help me grow. And so I'm really excited to pass that on to students, as we're, down here, these pictures are some of my students over the last 2 years. And I think that's really important for you to learn that these people around you are here to support you in all of the things you do, not just research. A lot of the people that I met when I was your age continue to support me. And I think research, I can tell you that there is peer-reviewed literature to show that undergraduate research fosters a sense of belonging in minoritized students, but I think all of you already know that. It's given you the confidence to do better, not just in research, but in your classes and in other things that you do on campus. A big thing that I learned was to have confidence to make mistakes. I was always kind of a type A person. I still am, but I've learned to channel it in different ways. And so you can imagine that that was not really compatible with research, especially as a diver. And so that was what I did my undergraduate research on, diving off of the coast of Catalina out here. And so, I can tell you one story about my undergraduate research that kind of demonstrates how far I came in those few years. We were installing semi-permanent environmental loggers out just in the channel off of Catalina Island to look at how eelgrass was fostering nursery habitat for kelp bass. And so my advisor sent me out there on the boat by myself with my buddy. And he was like, just put them out there. We'll come and pick them up in 6 months. Find somewhere good to put them. So I went down to the bottom and, 10 years ago in the channel, there was very little visibility. Now with climate change, it's like a tropical paradise out there, but it wasn't like that 10 years ago. And so there's no visibility. You can't see your hand in front of your face. And so we're searching blindly on the bottom. And we found these big concrete pilings. And I thought, well, this is a great place to put something that's semi-permanent. No one's going to move a concrete piling the size of one of these tables. And so we put them out there, we set the loggers, and then we went home for the month. And then we came back the next month and they were all gone. And it turns out that the Coast Guard had come to pick up their trash pilings that they had put out in the channel. And I was terrified to tell my advisor. These are hundreds of dollars, right? And I went to him and he said, well, shit happens, that's fine. And he wasn't bothered at all. And so I think that moment really taught me that, mistakes happen in research and everything's gonna be okay. Even if it's expensive equipment or something that you can't redo until the next field season, it's all gonna be okay. I tried to just give more photos of me making poor decisions. Some of these are here. This guy down here was the person who told me that shit happens. Some of you who were with me at the conference yesterday met him. And so, I think this goes along with that sense of belonging. A community doesn't punish you for making mistakes. And I think it's really important to learn early now, and hopefully you've all already learned that, they're part of doing research, but also part of life. And so, not to be philosophical about it, but research has really taught me a lot about being less of a type A person. Along with that, research has also taught me about people skills. Turns out that you don't just do this by yourself. You don't just sit in a lab. You have to deal with people, not only the people in your lab, but people that work with, regulatory agencies or grants offices, or, whoever you interact with your research. And that can be hard. And it's not just about effective communication, it's about respectful conflict. And so the first time I really dove into that was during the pandemic. As you can imagine, being responsible for the first time, not only for regular research safety operations, but also a matter of, health and safety, life and death in the field. Under COVID restrictions, there were a lot of conflicts among the different collaborators we had in the group, different ideas about what was safe and what wasn't. And so my undergraduates from that time in my research career like to tell the story about the time that I told our main collaborator no, which is a really scary time. So we had a collaborator at the US Geological Survey, which is a major agency in the US, and he was not very fond of COVID protocols. And so he would want us to all travel together in these tight quarters out in the field in 100-degree heat, wildfires, and our university had said that's not allowed. Our lawyers said, we will sue the government if that happens. And I was the one who had to relay that information. And so the students like to tell the story about the time that I told John no, because we think that he's never really been told that before. And I think this just shows that having these people skills and being able to maintain these relationships, even through conflict, is really important for doing research, and again, in life. And so this is something that I'm really grateful to have learned in the last few years, even if it was a really tense situation. So the last thing that I gained from research that I really hope that all of you have gained is lifelong friendships with people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. And a lot of these people for me have been my students, because I don't know if you can tell, I'm a little younger than most PIs. And so I tend to share a lot in common with the students that I have in my research group. But these are some of my friends over the years. Up in the left corner are my undergrads that went through an entire 2-year COVID field season with me at UC Davis. You can imagine that bonds people together. We didn't see anyone else for those entire 2 years because no one thought it was safe to be around us. Some of these pictures are friends from grad school traveling the world. In the bottom corner, you can see some of current students, Lorena Munoz and one of our surfies, Madison Beltran. We went to DC this year. And then this is my friend from grad school. We're celebrating me getting my first grant a couple weeks after getting the offer to come here as a faculty member. And so lifelong friendships, I'm hoping that all of you have gotten this from not only people in your lab, but people just in this room, in this research community in Schmid and at Chapman. But for me, and I'm not saying that this should be a goal, but for me, there's one friendship that's not on this slide, which of course, you never take pictures with your best friend, right? We don't have any pictures together. Her name is Lisa Collins, and she's my undergraduate advisor. And she is my absolute best friend in the world. And so I definitely wouldn't have gotten that kind of friendship without doing research. And it's not just the research itself, it's the time that you spend together. And so I'm really grateful for that experience. This is her. I take every opportunity to embarrass her, even if she's not here. But in summary, I think it speaks to me being best friends with my undergraduate advisor. You're never going to get rid of us. We're not going to be your best friends, but you will still hear from us forever for the next 20, 30, 40 years. We always want to hear about the amazing things that you're doing. We'll always write those recommendation letters, I promise. We really find a lot of joy in it. We always want to see the cool rocks or slugs or whatever you find on your vacation and have to text us. I get a lot of those. And we're also here for the highs and lows of life. We'll usually bring cookies too. And so, you know, I want to close in saying that it's a two-way street. And so you can always reach back out to us, and we can reach out to you, and you can embarrass us with all of the photos that you've collected of us in the lab, in the field, like traversing Santa Cruz Island on a Jeep and being scared for your life. That's what's happening to Lisa here. I show her this photo every single year. It's now been 10 years. And I'll close in saying congratulations to all of our students here presenting today and those who are going to be presenting in the next few years. We are so proud of you and can't wait to hear what you're doing in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing? The so-so? Thumbs up. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to the Schmid College Senior Research Conference. Thank you so much, Dr. Tanner. That was a great lessons to learn along the way. And what she's telling you is it's going to be okay today too, right? Students, mark this moment, right? This is the moment. You too will be reflecting back on today as a significant milestone in your journey as developing scientists. So on behalf of everyone participating in this conference, I'd like to take a few moments to give some special thanks to the folks that have allowed us to be here today. So I hope all our staff are around here so I can actually thank them personally. Rebecca, Chloe, Janelle, Jessica, Cheryl, Matthew, Yvonne, Lisa, Christine, and our special birthday belle, Dana, who are here today to support you and to cheer you on during the sessions. We can't do this without all of them, so I'm really, really appreciative of their efforts, and I'd like to give them a round of applause. Special thanks to Chloe for putting together the beautiful website for today's event, and my partner for today's event is Ms. Rebecca Green, who has worked tirelessly to make this event so memorable for all of us. So again, thank you very much. Honored guests, I know you will be duly impressed by our outstanding students and the work they have accomplished. We are delighted that there are so many family members in attendance today, and it is our great pleasure to tell you just how absolutely awesome your students are. Students, for those of you whose family members are not here today, I want to let you know that we are recording today's talks, so you will have access to those recordings. And a little suggestion is to bring them the lovely program that Rebecca created for all of you. I know as a parent, I know they will appreciate having that program. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank our faculty in attendance and our faculty research mentors for devoting your time and intellectual energy to helping our students from coursework through research. I have seen the many hours and hours of rehearsals that have happened this week through the conference room glass. It has been quite a sight this week. And I appreciate your helping our students get to this day today. Now, please bear with me. I've got some instructions. Sorry, but I got to do this. We'll begin our conference, the 4 parallel sessions, simultaneously at 9:30, with 20 minutes between presentations until a coffee break at 10:50. What I'd like to ask is that you please take your personal items from this room as you leave to go to the conference, because we're going to turn over this room for another event that's happening right after this. We'll congregate for the break in a new room this time, not in this room, in AF 201, which is around the corner. During the break, we hope you will all mingle with the students, ask more questions, and of course, get refueled for the second half of the conference. Students, thank you notes, thank you cards will be available for you in AF 201 if you haven't had a chance to write a thank you note. Then at 11:10, we'll resume until each session has finished. Our moderators will keep presentations to 12 to 13 minutes with 4 to 5 minutes of questions. This will allow for a few minutes to change between rooms as you're figuring out which presentations you want to see. For faculty reviewers, there are hard copy evaluation rubrics in each room, in addition to a link that's on the website for the electronic surveys. All of the presentation rooms are on this floor in very close proximity to this room, and the restrooms are at the end of the hallway next to the elevators. Okay, got it? All right. Also, you'll notice a slightly higher attendance during the second half of the conference. This is because groups of high school students are going to join us. It's a very special conference in that we are going to do dual conferences today. Those high school students are going to have their own conference, but they're coming to our conference as our guests. I know, it's really cool, right? So these students are from our Orange County Science and Engineering Fair, our community partner, and they are also from Orange High School from our Simon STEM program. So what I'd like to invite you to do is introduce yourselves to them, encourage them to ask questions, make them feel welcome, make them part of this scientific community so that they can see what this is really all about, as Dr. Tanner mentioned. Lastly, from the standpoint of conference etiquette, I've got to tell you, please stay until the end of the conference, right? Please have respect for those students that are at the very end. We want to make sure that we have everybody in attendance, so please stay. Students, before we break for the rooms, we're going to do a group photo up here. So when I finish, we'll have you all come to the front to do the group photo, and then we'll go to the conference. So students, now I'm going to stop saying students because you're not that anymore, right? You're colleagues, truly, you're colleagues. We are most enthusiastic to hear about your contributions to knowledge creation and the windows that you have opened to the unforeseen through your research today. Don't be nervous, right? We are here to support you. We are your family. We are here to lift you up and know that you inspire us, and we are so, so very proud of you. So stay loose, keep calm, and really, really enjoy the day. All right, so colleagues, please come up. We'll do our group photo and have a great conference.